All right, there we go.
I mean, I'm a little late for 1 o'clock, but like not that late.
I'm actually not drinking really. I did have a beer on.
It's good.
I had a beer. What was it? 2 days ago, and it was my first one after taking a week off. And I'm gonna try to just stick to not drinking again until I if I want a beer at some point, that's okay. But it's gonna be
Bro,
just the
that's
one that day.
a big part of like what I did though, because like I said, like the person that like I locked in with, JC or whatever,
Right.
she like made me want to not drink. So then I
Yeah.
was like 3 or 4 weeks sober, completely sober, and I wanted to do better just because like I didn't want to lose the conversation or even just like talking to her.
Right.
Like she was like, "You should be sober." I was like, "All right, bet." So now I was sober, and I loved it. I loved being sober. But now I'm like, once he left, bro, I was like, it was so easy to just fall back into it.
No. That's how it be. You're just like, what the fuck am I doing now?
Right.
But you got to do things for you.
I get what she be saying though. Like you should do it for yourself and not for me.
Exactly.
And that's what I was doing.
No,
Like,
and that's what I was about to say.
For her, not for me.
That's what I was about to say. Is at the end of the day, you got to do things for yourself if you want them to have like the true meaning they're supposed to.
Right. Real shit.
There's nothing wrong with something inspiring you, but
sometimes like you need like a little boost.
well, that's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with something inspiring you to like rise above yourself, but you gotta be able to love not the fact that that thing made you do it, the fact that you did it, and then make your own reason after that fact.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
You got that. I already know you do.
Sure that the camera is still positioned right on top of the player, and we can even turn on position smoothing to really smooth out our camera follow.
No, I know what you mean.
Enable position
You're not wrong.
smoothing
It
on
does
the
suck
camera
sometimes.
with a default speed of 5
Oh
pixels.
crap! Hold on. Go back.
Drag it under the player. Making it a child of the player means that it will just automatically follow the player node.
Okay.
I'm also going to make sure that the camera is still positioned right on top of the player, and we can even turn on position smoothing to really smooth out our...
Okay, gotta turn on position smoothing. Oh. Nope.
Nah, it's good to like talk to you, man, because
No, I'm glad.
it's not like you validate me, bro, but like you hear what I'm saying and
Yeah, no, of course, bro. We always have good conversations.
for real. Let's put this in first.
Boom. Okay. Position smoothing on.
our camera follow. So I'm going to enable position smoothing on the camera with a default speed of 5 pixels. And now when we play,
Now let's try that again. Now when we play. Oh yeah, very nice. Look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah. Okay.
Where's your blue knife? I think I saw it by the.
as you can see, our camera smoothly follows our player.
Let's go get that.
Awesome. So now we have a first draft of our game world, but so far everything is stuck to the grid. Let's start adding some dynamic and moving elements, such as platforms. Platforms, some that move and
before I do resetting after death.
I mean, the hill sucks right now, but digging that, it felt good doing it, but like when you start digging a hole, you're like, I feel like I'm making no progress.
Bro, I can't. I hate digging a hole.
some that don't. So whenever we are creating a new element of our game, we begin by making a new scene. And for the root node here,
2 hours later, 6 foot, I would be dead.
here I'm going to hit add. And
What do you say?
let's start adding some dynamic and moving elements, such as platforms. Platforms, some that move and some that
We're gonna make moving platforms next.
don't. So whenever we are creating a new element of our game, we begin.
It's like he's learning.
Which one is the Mises?
It's not the Mises one. It's the one where it's like it's. I don't know. It's so unhinged because it's like Mr. Poopy Butthole and Rick. and it's about like him like repeating himself so much to the point where he like breaks the computer. Like, and Rick is just sitting there like repeating himself. I don't
Oh,
even
man,
know.
I can't even remember it, but I know I've seen them all.
But then there's fucking Mr. Mr. Poopy Butthole, and he's learning.
I'm gonna
That's
try to
what
find
you're
it.
doing right now.
Hey,
Retarded.
let me ask you a question real quick. Does evil exist? And if so, can one detect and measure it? Rhetorical question, Morty. The answer is yes, you just have to be a genius.
I don't think this is
Cute.
it.
Your sister's boss gave me a microscope that would have made me retarded.
Ooh, oh boy, Rick. I don't think you're allowed to say that word, you know?
Morty, I'm not disparaging the differently abled. I'm stating the fact that if I had used this microscope, it would have made me mentally retarded.
Okay, yeah, but I don't think it's about logic, Rick. I think the word has just become a symbolic issue for powerful groups that feel it.
That's not the one, but I love that. God damn it.
Are you trying to look it up right now?
Yeah. Can't find it.
You're like Rick and Morty, computer, he's learning.
Okay. Um. Oh, wait. Here we go. It's in a reel. Wait.
You made after I
Yeah, okay.
reprogrammed your brain with my nanobots.
I'm immune to your nanobots.
You're immune to the ones you designed, not
I
mine.
programmed you to build nanobots.
Oh, yeah, right.
That needed to be placed in your head by my nanobots.
You believe that because I programmed you to.
That's what I'm saying to you, though. You believe what I programmed you to believe.
Yes, because I programmed you to believe that.
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 What's happening, Professor Poopy Butthole?
He's learning.
Yeah. No, okay, I got
He's
you.
learning.
The heist episode.
The heist episode. Yes, bro. That whole episode is so funny.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
I'm
That's hilarious.
okay. Well, I gotta sum up on that one again.
By making a new scene. And for the root node here, I'm going to hit add.
Okay,
And
wait.
of our game, we begin by making a new scene.
A new
And for
scene.
the root
Oh, crap.
player. Awesome. So now we have a first draft of our game world. But so far, everything is stuck to the grid. And of our game, we begin by making a new scene. And for the root node here, I'm going to hit add and search for the animatable body 2D.
Okay, animatable body 2D. Okay.
This is a physics body that we use whenever we want to animate a node and still have it collide properly with other nodes in its path, which is perfect for moving platforms that should still collide properly with our player. So let's hit create and let's add some graphics. So Control A, we'll search for sprite and select the sprite 2D. And now we can drag in the texture we want. So let's go.
Okay.
Throw that in the trash.
Under our assets, sprites, and drag in the platforms.png.
Okay. Got some platforms.
He's learning.
Let's hit F and zoom in. And as you can see, this is also a sprite sheet and it's currently just displaying all of them. So let's go in and define exactly which one we want to show. We can do this under region, enabled, and hit edit region. And so we can kind of, we can do this under region, enabled,
Region.
Right here. Okay.
Okay.
and hit edit region. And so we can kind of crop out the element that we want to show. I'm going to change the snap mode here to pixel snap. And I'm just going to go for a default grass platform. That looks good. And now when we close it, we can see our sprite perfectly cropped.
Okay. Okay. Pixel snap. Awesome.
Out. Again, we have the warning here, so let's go ahead and add a collision shape 2D. For the shape, I'm going to add a rectangle shape, and now we can simply click and drag this to configure it. Then let's rename our top node here to platform
Hold up, buddy.
2D. For the shape, I'm going to add a rectangle shape, and now we can simply click and drag this to configure it. Then,
Okay. Keep hitting control when I don't need to.
I didn't know I was about to help you, but just kind of ended up being like that. I don't know if you're gonna put that.
Huh. That's weird. It's like, I swear.
I got it.
It's like it's conforming to a different grid on mine.
let's rename our top node here to platform and save the scene. So Control S. In our scenes folder, hit save. We've actually created our platform. So in our game scene, we can drag it in, go
I'm gonna
under
let you lock
scenes,
in, man.
find
I got you. Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Please do. Please do. I
Yeah.
like where you're at right now.
Word, hit me up.
All right, man.
All right. Oh, and hey, if you have some free time at some point, I really would actually like to start Heartbound with you before doing anything else.
Definitely. I completely forgot about Parsec, so
All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
we could do that on stream type shit.
Yeah, definitely. All right, bro.
All right,
Have a good one.
Sounds like a plan.
All right,
All right,
peace
thanks.
out, G.
find the platform, drag it into. In our game scene, we can drag it in, save. We've actually created and saved the scene. So Control S. In our scenes folder,
In our scenes folder. Jeez. Stop it.
hit save. We've actually created our platform. So in our game scene, we can drag it in, go on. Do scenes, find the platform, drag it into wherever we'd like, and let's hit play.
Sick.
And as you can see, it works.
Hell yeah. That's better. Oh.
Hook. And let's hit play. And as you can see,
It didn't work. Awesome.
it works. However, one problem right now is that we can't actually jump onto the platform from underneath. To fix this, we turn it into a one-way platform. So in our platform scene, let's select our collision shape and enable one-way collision. And now when we play, we can jump onto platforms from
Nice. Need that.
underneath.
Oh, I gotta come over here.
However, the player is currently we can jump onto platform and enable one-way collision. And now when we play, we can jump onto platforms from underneath. However, the player is currently passing behind the platform. This is because the platform is currently after the player in the tree. This means that each frame, the player is drawn first, and then the platform is drawn on top.
Okay.
We could just move the player in the tree, but I don't want to depend on that. Instead, we fix the draw order by changing the z-index of the player. So, in our player scene, we go under Ordering and set the z-index to something higher like 5. By default,
That's so interesting. Ordering. Oh, I don't think it worked.
default, all visible nodes have a z-index of 0. Because they all have the same index, they are drawn according to their order in the tree. So by setting the z-index to a higher value, like 5, we ensure that our player will always appear on top. And now if we play, we can see that our
Why didn't it work?
the player. So in our player
Oh.
scene,
I'm always doing that. I'm not making sure I'm on the right. That's going to be a big problem if I let it be one. So I got to stop with that. I got to check that I'm on the right, like, you know, category. Much better. Look at that. Yeah. Let's stop. What's the shortcut? F8. Got it.
we go under Ordering and set the z-index to something higher like 5. By default, all visible nodes have a z-index of 0. Because they all have the same index, they are drawn according to their order in the tree. So by setting the z-index to a higher value, like 5, we ensure that our player will always appear on top. And now if we play, we can see that our player passes in front of the platform. So our platform is working, but it's currently just hovering there. We might want some platforms to move around to increase difficulty. So let's use animation to do that. I'm going to leave this platform here as kind of a static platform. I'm just going to place it there. Then I'm going to place another platform over here by simply dragging it in. This is the platform that I would like to move back and forth. In fact, let me just go into the tile map and make this gap even larger. There we go. So to add animation to this platform only, we simply select it.
I want to check, can I copy tiles on the tile map? Can I just be like, if I were to do, hold up. Okay. Can I copy them? Yes. Just Control C, Control V. That's beautiful. Okay. Then go back to here. Okay.
Add a new node, and we want to use an animation player. Let's hit create.
There it is.
Great. And now we can add a new
Oh, we want this underneath the platform too.
animation. And let's name that move. Animation players in Godot are a new animation. And let's name that move. Animation players in Godot are extremely powerful because they allow us to animate pretty much anything. In this case, we just want to do something really simple. We want to go to our platform and make a keyframe under transform for the position. So I'll hit the key right here. And
Okay. Oh, I got myself distracted by stupid. Okay.
hit create. Then we can go forward in our timeline here to say 1 second, move our platform to the right. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm also going to hold down shift to kind of snap it to one axis. Let's move it to there. And let's
Yeah, that would have been a good idea. Wait, what did he?
we're going to hold down shift to kind of snap it to one axis. Let's move it to there. And let's add another keyframe. And now we can see that if we play, the animation plays.
Okay.
We also want this to loop, so I'm going to select loop here. However, this is going to loop in a way that it snaps back to the original keyframe. Instead, let's press it again. And now you can
Oh, and I can make this longer, and then that'll give me more room to do what I'm trying to do. And I can... Okay. All right. Beautiful.
see that it's going to start ping-ponging back and forth. If this is currently too fast, we can simply increase the length of our
And that's what we're going to do.
animation. So here's the length. Let's set it to 1.5.
Oh. Much better.
Instead, and drag our last keyframe to the end. And there we go. We now have a moving platform. Let's just make sure that we set it to autoplay. And now when we play the game and go to the place where we made our platform, we can see that it's moving back.
Where was that?
Have it instead and drag. Let's just make sure that we set it to
Autoplay.
autoplay.
Oh, crap. Crap. Ah. Ah. It's still getting there.
play. And now when we play the game and go to the place where we made our platform, we can see that it's moving back and forth. And if we jump onto it, the player will smoothly follow it. Really cool. And there's already so much you can do with this. Next up, pickups. Now let's add a coin that we can pick up.
Oh.
Again, we start by creating a new scene. Let's create a new node, and let's this time search for area 2D. This is a type of node that we use whenever we don't want to collide with other objects, but instead we just want to define an area in which we can detect collisions. So we simply use this to detect if another body enters, such as the player character. Let's create an area 2D. Let's also add some graphics, so Control A, search for sprite, and we'll select the animated sprite. Under animation, let's add some new sprite frames, selected, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin, selected, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here. I'm going to sprite frames, selected, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin.png. So
God damn, he's quick.
Animation, let's add some new sprite frames, selected, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin.png, zoom in on this, and this only has one grid cell
God damn it.
on .png did, and let's load in from a
Ah, it's this button here. Okay. Okay.
sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin.png, zoom in on this, and this only has one grid cell on the vertical,
Looking like
and
some cheap music
horizontally
right now.
it has 12. And now we can click from left to right or simply click and drag and add the frame. Let's hit F and zoom in. Set the FPS to 10 and hit play. Let's hit F and zoom in. Set the FPS to 10 and hit play. And that's
Wow. That's fucking amazing. I just have to sit back and appreciate this for a minute because that's insane. I love this. All right, back to it.
That's our coin animation. Let's make sure that this auto plays. And just like a normal physics body, an area 2D also needs a collision shape. So let's add a collision shape 2D. And then for the shape, let's just choose a circle shape, decrease the radius a bit. And that's actually all we need. So let's select our area
Here,
and rename
recent.
it
That's
to
what I was
coin.
looking for. You wanna... There we go. I was like, I can't work with it very easily like that. Okay, there we go.
And that's actually all we need. So let's select our area and rename.
What was it again? F2. Oh, and I can just do that. Okay, I don't need to right click or F2. I can just click again.
It to coin and save the scene. And now we can simply drag it into our game. So under scenes, we'll take the coin and place it around the level. You can always use Control D to duplicate. And now if we play, we can see that the coin is here, but nothing happened.
Okay.
If we enter the area. So it's time to
Oh, I see why I did him the way he did. It'd be nicer. Let me see him placing them just so I can get an idea of like how he did it.
And place it around the level. You can always use Control D to duplicate. And now if we play,
Okay, so he didn't overthink it.
we can see that the coin is here, but nothing happens if we enter the area. So it's time to make our first script. So in our coin scene, we select the coin node and hit Add Script. This time for the template, let's just choose the default template. And for the path, let's make sure that this goes under the scripts folder. I'll create, and this is what it looks like when we create a default script in.
Oh, I'm dead.
In Godot, we can see that we've created
All right,
the
so
script.
what do you
This
do?
is script.
He made a new script.
So in our coin scene, we select the coin node and hit Add Script. This
Okay.
time for the template, let's just choose the default template. And for the path, let's make sure that this goes under the scripts folder.
Okay.
I'll create, and this is what it looks like when we create a default script in Godot. We can see that we've created the script on an Area 2D node, and that it's automatically made two functions for us that we often use: ready and process.
Okay.
Currently, both of them only have the pass keyword, which means do nothing. So this script, if we run it, will do absolutely nothing. Now, the ready function is called right when our node enters the scene tree, which is just at the start of the game. So we can put code here that we want to happen immediately. Let's try it out by printing a quick message to see if it's working. So I'm going to write print, then in parentheses and quotes, I'm going to put I'm a coin. And if we play now, the print doesn't do anything in our game, but it does show our message, I'm a coin, in the output window. This is also referred to as the console.
Okay, hold up. All right. Run it back now.
We play now. I'm going to see if it's here that we want to happen immediately. Let's try it out by printing a quick message to see if it's working. So I'm going to write print, then in parentheses and quotes, I'm going to put I'm a coin. And if we play now, the print doesn't do anything in our game, but it does show our message, I'm a coin, in the output window. This is also referred to as the console and is where we see messages such as prints and errors. However, you might also notice that the message displays multiple times. That's because we currently have multiple coins around our game, and the script runs for each and every one. So since we have 5 coins, it displays I'm a coin 5 times.
Got it.
But we don't want anything to happen when we start the game. So I'm actually just going to remove these 2 functions. Instead, we only want to do something once our player enters the coin area. And for this, we use a signal. Signals allow us to trigger code based on events that happen in our game. Godot has many built-in signals we can use. If we select our Area 2D node and go to the Node tab, we can see all the signals on this node. We want to use the body entered signal, which is triggered whenever a physics body enters the area. Since our player has a character body 2D node, this is going to trigger this area. Bod tab, we can see all the signals on this node. We want to use the body entered signal, which is triggered whenever a physics body enters the area. Since our player has a character body 2D node, this is going to trigger the signal. So to connect it, we simply double click it and hit connect. As you can see, this creates a new function in our script called onBodyEntered with a green arrow that shows that this is triggered by a signal. So let's here try writing a print function that says something like +1 coin. Now when we play,
I get it. Cool.
and into the coin area, it's going to print +1 coin. However, this message will actually display no matter which body enters the area. If we take one of these coins here and put it in the way of a moving platform, for example, this will also trigger the message. So now, right when we play, we can see that it starts displaying the message, and will do so every time the platform passes through the area. To change this, we can either use code to check what body enters the area, or we can simply put our player on a separate physics layer. Let's try that out. So under our player, we'll go to the inspector, go to collision, and here we can change.
We'll go to our player, collision,
the physics layer from layer 1 to 2. Let's
Wait. That's weird that there's
Control S to save. And then in our coin, we can also go under collision. We can actually have the coin itself stay on layer 1. We don't need a separate layer for that yet, but we want to make sure that it only detects colliders in layer 2. For this, we use the mask. The mask defines what layers a node collides with. So let's set that to layer 2, because that's the layer that our player is on. That should actually do it. Now our coin will only detect collisions from our player.
Got it. And I gotta make sure this works. So let's put a coin here. Looks like it worked. Yep, it worked. Cool.
And instead of just displaying a message, let's also remove the coin from our scene when we pick it up.
Here we
in our
go.
Script, after printing one coin, let's add a new line. We'll call the queue_free function, which is simply going to remove the entire coin scene from our game. And indeed it does. And
Big moment. Big money, baby. Now we are collecting the money.
our knight can now start gathering some coin. Now, depending on what type of loot we pick up, we want different things to happen. In this case, I want to display a score that increases when we pick up a coin. But we'll look at that when we get to text. First, I think something a bit more pressing is dying and restarting our game.
Oh, I've been
One
waiting
by
for this
So we
one.
happily move along in our world until suddenly we miss a jump and fall into the abyss. And then nothing happens. Let's change that. The first thing we want to do is limit our camera so that it doesn't follow our player when we fall down. Luckily, this is really easy to do. We simply select our camera under the player, go under limit, and here we can set a position limit for the left, top, right, and bottom part of our camera.
Okay.
In our case, we need to set a limit for the bottom position. To do this, we can use the ruler tool here at the top, or simply press R, and measure from this baseline here to where we would like the limit of our camera to be. I think a good value would be somewhere
Alright, I get it.
around, say, 120. So I'll simply go back to select mode and put in 120 pixels on the bottom. I'm also going to enable smoothing, and now when we play, we can see that our camera will follow the player, but whenever we fall off, it's simply going to stay put. Next,
Crazy. Okay. Alright, I got distracted. I was thinking about how those coins were a big old list, and it would be nice if I could group them. But let me focus. $156. Oh, and we can turn on smoothing. Let me get rid of that one. Oh, we fail. Cool.
Next, we need to detect that our player has entered a dangerous area and restart the game. In other words, we need to create a kill zone. I'll show you a really cool way to do this that allows us to reuse the same kill zone for more than just falling off the map, such as for spike traps, enemies, all kinds of elements of danger. And when we want to create a reusable element, we start by making a scene. Then to detect if we enter an area, we again use the Area 2D node. And let's make sure to set the collision mask here to 2. We only want to check for the player, which is on layer 2. And we won't add a collision shape here. That's because we want to be able to reuse this for all kinds of elements that might have different shapes. Instead, let's simply go ahead and rename this now to Kill Zone and save it as a new scene. Then in our game scene, we can add it by dragging it in or simply pressing
Hold up. What did I miss?
And read kinds of elements that might have that's which is sure to set the collision mask here to 2. We only want to check for the player, which is on layer 2.
Sure.
And we won't add a collision shape here.
Oh, we won't.
That's because we want to be able to reuse this for all kinds of elements that might have different shapes. Instead, let's simply go ahead and rename this now to Kill Zone and save it as a new scene. Then in our game scene, we can add it by dragging it in or simply pressing the link button here and selecting the kill zone. And then in here, we'll add the collision shape. So I'm going to hit Control A, collision shape. And for the shape, we'll use the same world boundary shape that we used earlier for the ground. Now let's make sure to select the kill zone node itself, go into move and use the move tool to position it down here at the bottom. I'm going to place it pretty far down so we're sure we don't hit this by accident. Or I mean, we're going to be hitting it by accident, so let's make sure we don't hit it on purpose. Or I mean, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to place it down here a good bit away from our level. And now we can add a script to make something happen when we enter the area. So in our kill zone, let's select it, add a new script. For the template here, I'm just going to select empty, and the path, let's put it under the scripts folder level. And now we can add a script to make something happen when we enter the area. So in our kill zone, let's select it, add a new script. For the template here, I'm just going to select empty, and the path, let's put it under the scripts. For the template here, I'm just going to select empty, and the path, let's put it under the scripts folder. And now we have this empty script to play with. I'm going to connect a signal, so go node, make sure we have the kill zone node selected. And again, we'll use the body entered signal. So let's double click it, hit connect, and it's going to create a new function on body entered, in which case we can go ahead and print that you died. And now if we play and jump down, it's going to print that we died.
I see. So it just does. Got it. Good to know.
Died. Now, instead of immediately restarting the game, let's add a small delay. We do this using another node called the timer node. So let's add a new node, search for timer, and under the inspector here, we can choose some different things about it. Let's set the wait time to something like 0.6 seconds. Let's also make it a one shot to make sure that it doesn't loop. We can then start this timer in our code. To do that, however, we first need a reference to it. Luckily, that's as simple as going to the top of our code, clicking and dragging the timer node, and holding down Control while releasing. This creates a variable called timer that automatically finds the node using this path. Now, if you haven't worked with paths before, they are actually quite simple. They specify a way to get from one node to another in the tree. So if we look at this example tree, to get from the game node to the camera, the path looks like this. It goes through the player and ends with the camera. And in our case, where we just want to get from the kill zone to the timer right underneath, we don't have to go through any other nodes, so the path is simply timer. Again, right now we're brushing over concepts such as variables and functions pretty briefly, but you can learn more about programming and what all this really means in our upcoming video on GDScript. For now, just know that using this click and drag method, we can now access our timer node using the name timer. So to start our timer, we make a new line.
Yeah. Oh shit. Totally just left midstream. My bad, guys. No one's been in here. It's all good. What the heck? What is this? Oh, it just stopped being live. What is this? I'll be right back. Oh, it just stopped being live. What is this? I'll be right back. Oh, it just stopped being. Oh man, what are we gonna do, Cecile? What are we gonna do? You had it with me. Oh, come on. Who's a good baby? Yeah, there you go, baby. Take a load off. I love my cats so much. I'll tell you what.
And write timer dot start. Of course, we
Oh shit, did I finish my soda? Alright, hold up.
we now need to trigger some code when our timer runs out. And again, we can use a signal. Our timer access our timer node using the name timer. So to start our timer, we make a new line and write timer dot start. Of course, we now need to trigger some code when our timer runs out. And again, we can use a signal for this. So with our timer node selected, let's go under node, and here's the timeout signal. So let's double click that and hit connect. And this creates a new
Hold up.
timeout signal. So let's double click that and hit connect. And this creates a new function called onTimerTimeout that runs when the timer ends. And then in here, we can simply
Huh. Got something diabolical stuck in my teeth. Got it.
restart our game. To do this, we first access the scene tree, so get tree, and tell it to reload, so reload current scene.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
So our player enters the kill zone and triggers the onBodyEntered function. This prints a message that we died and starts the timer. When the timer runs out, it triggers the onTimerTimeout function, which then reloads our scene and restarts the game. And indeed, when we play and jump off the map, we fall down and the scene.
Crazy. Here it is. So we can get the coins. But if we fuck up and die, boom, just like that, starts over. Oh. My game's low-key impossible right now. Oh, close call. It's like, it's not impossible. You just have to get the last coin last. Duh. Okay. Yeah. We did it. We got all the coins. Pretty cool.
Restarts. Great. It's an infinite loop. Help me. I'm stuck. World Building 2.0. Let's expand on our game world a bit now that we have more elements to work with. First of all, I want to make sure that we stay organized.
Good,
So let's
baby.
take some of these nodes and categorize them. The easiest way to do this is by simply adding a new node. For this one, I'm just going to select the base node here, hit create, and now we can rename this. I'll make one for, say, coins, and simply take all of the coins and drag them under that node.
Hold on, what was
Coins, hit create, simply adding a new node. For this one, I'm just going to select the base node here, hit create, and now we can rename this. I'll make one for, say, coins.
Got it. I was just saying I was wondering about this. That's why it's better sometimes to just let your answers or let your questions be answered in due time.
And simply take all of the coins and drag them under that node.
Hey.
We can do the same thing for platforms and any other elements.
I like that. Oh, I just keep putting stuff in the wrong place. Sorry, I'll get used to checking that before I do things.
That are cluttering up your scene. Now I'm going to paint in a bit more level and change the things that I don't like.
I'm gonna skip this part.
And I'll put in some more gameplay elements. I'll also paint in some background tiles. But to do this, we need to add another layer to our tile map. So not under our tile set, but under the tile map itself, we have this layers. And this is the one we we've been painting in. Let's just call this mid for midground and add another one that we can call background. Let's move this to the top to make sure that it's drawn first. And now when painting, we need to select the right layer to paint on. So let's select the background, and then we can start painting in some background tiles.
Huh? Why doesn't it look like his now? What did I do wrong just now?
And I'll put in some tiles. But to do this, we need to add another layer to our tile map. So not under our tile set, but under the tile map.
Under our tile set. Oh, no, that was... I'm confused.
Itself, we have this layers. And this is the one we've been painting in. Let's just call this mid for midground and add another one that we can call background. Let's move this to the top to make
Why didn't it work that way for me?
sure that it's drawn first. And now when painting, we need to select the right layer to paint on. So let's select the background,
This time
and
I
then we
think
can
I got
start
it.
painting in some background tiles. A nice trick here is to use the rectangle tool to paint in a lot of tiles at once.
Okay.
Use the painting in some background right layer to paint on. So let's select the background, and then we can start painting in some background tiles.
There we go.
A nice trick here is to use the rectangle tool to paint in a lot of tiles at once.
Nice. That's pretty. Very pretty. Let me just do these a little differently. Much better.
And now our game looks a lot better. It has a background and a whole new part of the level that we can explore. And of course, this process is just about trying things out and making changes until you're satisfied. Enemy. A proper hero, of course, needs a good enemy. So let's make one. Let's create a new scene. And since this enemy doesn't need to collide with anything, we can just go ahead and use a Node 2D as the base. Let's also add an animated sprite, so I'll search.
I actually think I'm going to take a break for now. There's about 30 minutes left in this video, and I'm getting pretty fatigued. I don't want to burn myself out, but I'm having a lot of fun, and we're definitely going to keep at this project. Thanks for watching, guys.